Hello and welcome back to Critters Creations. I want to show you the basket we've stitched today. This is really simple. Once you get past that foundation row, it is just double crochets between front post and back post double crochet. So it is not hard to do. I made this as a blanket once for a toddler, and it looked like I had put a lot more work into it than I really did with the design. I am using a 408 yarn and a 6mm hook. This is one of my favorites. I don't usually start my crochets with just a chain. I don't like how that looks. So this is a foundation single crochet, and I do have a video on my channel with that. I think it just gives it a little more of a finished look on the bottom. I just like the look it gives on that very first row. Looks a little more finished. So also, when I'm ready to start after the foundation row or the chain, your first row is a double crochet. I don't do a chain two. I use I think it's called a stacked double crochet. So depending on what you do with that, we'll say how many chains you do. If you like to chain two for your if you like to do a chain two to start the next row, you'll want to start off with a multiples of 3 plus 4. I don't do the chain two. I do a stacked double crochet. I like it has straighter edges. And I do have a video for that also. I also don't usually chain one at the end unless I'm working with different colored yarn and I'm trying to secure it. I start with just a single crochet. Then I'm going to go back in, and there is the stitch I went under, and pull up a loop and another single crochet. So that gives me the height of a double. And now I'm just going to double crochet all the way across. When you get to the end of this first row of double crochets, you should have 26 double crochets. I'm going to finish this row and I will be back in a minute. All right, I finished round one and it's just 26 double crochets for this swatch. Because it's multiples of 3, but then I want one regular double crochet on each side. So it'll be 24 in the pattern, one that's 25 and 26. So if you want to chain two at this point, you can. That's not typically what I do. So I'm going to do a stacked double crochet. So I do a single crochet. Then I'm going to take my hook under that. Let me see if I can try it again. So it's going to go under that, and I'm going to make another single crochet. So now it starts. You're going to do 3 front post double crochets, 3 back post double crochets. And this will start the pattern to give it that basket weave look. That's the easy one. I always find back post a little more challenging because it's hard to see. So 3 front post, 3 back post. So now I'm going to do 3 more front posts. Double crochets. and then 3 back post. That didn't work. And then 1 more back post. So I have the 1 regular double crochet, and then 3 front posts, 3 back posts, 3 front posts, 3 back posts, double crochets. And I'm going to continue it out, and I will meet you near the end of row 2. All right, so at the end of row 2, I have my 1 regular double crochet, 3 front posts, 3 back, front, back, and I am ready for this last stitch, which is a regular double crochet. So row 2, you can start to see the pattern forming a little bit. So I turn, as again, I don't tend to chain 2. I'll do a standing, or a stacked double. So here is where we start to alternate. With the way this is facing me, these would be considered front posts. So I'm going to back post those and do some back post double crochets on those 3. And 1, 2, and then 3. Back posts are some of my least favorite stitches, but this looks really nice. So based on the way this looks, as I said, this one looks like front post, this one looks like back, this one looks like front. So everything's just the opposite or alternating. I did back post, so now I'm going to do front post on these 3. 2, 3, so I am over here. So I just completed 3 front posts, which means this has to be 3 back posts. This looks raised compared to here. So that tells me that's another reason I know it has to be back post, because it has to be the opposite stitch. And then I'm just going to keep going on until I get to this and the end of this row. I will be back at the end of this row. All right, so I'm approaching the end of row 2. I did a front post here, so now I'm going to do 3 back posts. This was a back post, so this will be 3 front posts, and then a regular crochet on the end. So it looks like I have about 7 more stitches. Did I say how much I dislike back posts? They're easy, but I don't like them. If anyone hasn't watched my other videos, you may sit there and think I do some crazy crochet, especially with the way I hold my yarn in my other hand. I'm left-handed, so I hold it in my right. I'm completely taught off of YouTube. And I sort of kind of figured out things however they worked for me as I went along. I've never really known a good way to hold the yarn in the non-dominant hand, but I've been doing this since about 2019, so it's unlikely it's going to change all these years later. Okay, I have one stitch left, and that is just my regular double crochet. And then this pattern continues. We would turn it. So I would do my one regular crochet. These are back posts, you can tell with this little ridge here. So I would do 3 front, 3 back, 3 front, 3 back, 3 front, 3 back, 3 front, 3 back, and then in the last one we would do a standard double crochet. So if I don't know if I still have pictures of that blanket I made. If I do, I will maybe I'll include it on the thumbnail. You'll know because it was sort of a light bluish color, but if I can find it, I'll put it on the thumbnail. And this worked out really well. It was super easy to do. Didn't have to do a ton of thinking. I would just typically count to 3 or pay attention to what the stitches look like. So do you have a different way that you do this? Or maybe you have a different way that you hold the yarn in your non-dominant hand. I would love to hear that because I'm always looking for ways to improve. But that's what the finished swatch looks like. And say, I used it as a baby blanket and it worked up pretty quickly and it looked really nice. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.